It's everything on the line here for Western teams G2 and Evil Geniuses, as both teams square off to basically determine who gets removed from the world stage here. Although there have definitely been some teams that lean on the meta heavily, every single team has their own take on options they can go for in order to create more scenarios in draft, and this was a case where both teams used that creativity to make some super interesting compositions. Even though the stakes are the highest they'll ever be at this stage for both teams, I love the fearlessness they draft around regardless. As always, if you enjoy content like this, feel free to drop a sub to support the channel. Let's hop in the draft. Kicking off into bans, this game starts off with G2 on blue side. They end up getting rid of Graves, Yuumi, and Kalista, while EG opt to remove Sejuani, Aatrox, and Maokai. G2 are clearly making good use of the fact that bans on blue side have slightly more flexibility here, as they're removing things that generally warp the game in weird directions. Think the Yuumi ban for that super slow mind-numbing bot lane dynamic, or the Graves, which creates really weird compositions and jungle situations as well. EG ban extremely standard here since they want to limit the amount of compositions that G2 can open in with B1. To start things off, G2 swing for the Azir opener here, not very surprising. EG respond with Akali, which is a classic matchup that plays into the team fighting style that works well with JoJo, and they actually open up with Lucian in the R2. I think these champions just play well into how EG like to play the game, as they've thrived best with Kaori's ultra aggressive landing style, and I almost want to say play very chaotic. Speaking of which, G2 oblige and pull out the Draven for Flacket here. G2 pretty much know that EG are going to lock Nami in the R3 here, so something to keep in mind is that the B2, B3 slot is almost protected like an R3 slot would normally be, since EG don't have a pick slot left to respond to it, unless they had some insane pick that doesn't revolve around Nami. I don't really think that's the case though, and G2 now establishing that this game is going to completely revolve around bot side, decide to secure a good weak side pick in the Ornn. R3 Nami comes out and we quickly bounce over their phase 2 bans. Right now, this entire draft is going to be dictated by how bot lane does. While G2 have stable solo lanes to help serve as insurance for G2, they still really want to use their last 2 picks to get some aggression on bot side and a jungler to enable this. EG should pretty much know that, and their goals in draft are likely to also get a top lane that can perform well against Ornn while in isolation, and also a jungler that has the flexibility to help the bottom lane carry this game. As mentioned, G2 used their 2 bans to shield against his Ornn pick on top side, getting rid of both GP and Mordekaiser, which are 2 pretty bad matchups for him. On the other hand, EG rid themselves of Renata, which provides a ton of insurance for the Draven, and Poppy, which pretty much currently ruins EG's entire comp and works well with what G2 have. It honestly might have been more optimal to pick Poppy Ornn on the B2, B3 because of how strong it already looks here, but it's possible that G2 had a hunch that they might lose a Draven pick if they don't swing it for now, so it's fine. Out of the bans, G2 likely are going to use their R4 on top since they see the matchup already. Surprisingly enough, Shen is actually the answer here into Ornn. Although it's actually an awesome matchup into Ornn, we have not been seeing Shen at all in recent times because it tends to get stat checked by champions like Ornn often. This should also indicate that EG need a damage source in the jungle here, and G2 are going to use their B4, B5 to mitigate this as much as possible. Like I said though, EG should already have a good idea as to what G2's comp is going to look like since Draven's already been revealed. We see Thresh and Lee Sin to round out the comp, which are 2 good all-rounder picks, but nothing surprising. To round out the draft, EG slammed the Hecarim as their carry jungler of choice. It can work well since EG need to delete this Draven in order to win off fights, and a champion like this is going to allow EG to play through Inspired's callouts. Overall, this is a draft that really tells you about the character of each of these teams, and I actually really like that. We have the styles of everyone on EG coming together to create a comp that has a ton of mobility to get on the Flacket and remove him from fights, whereas G2 have a really good standard comp that can guarantee a win if their fundamentals are strong enough to get through this early game. EG have good matchups in their solo lanes, protection on dive on top side, especially on sides as the game progresses, so it pretty much will rely on whether EG can outmaneuver G2 on the bottom side in the early game and potentially get really good fights around objectives that G2 have to answer. I think the draft is pretty even overall, all things considered, and it really relies on execution here. I'll slightly give this draft over to G2 since I believe EG's comp can only work if they perform really well, and it's a pretty tall ask against a team like the one G2 has. As always though, I hope this analysis was insightful to you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay fresh.
Don't